Hello everyone and welcome back to Wrestling Conversations with Harris, where today I'll be reviewing AEW All In 2023 from London, England in Wembley Stadium. So, in terms of the general show, I'll just quickly give my thoughts on the show. Overall it was a very good show. I think AEW hit it out of the park. Really, really good show. I just feel when I first saw it at the beginning, it really did feel a bit weird just because to see 80,000 people and 81,035 apparently, which is a record, worldwide record for the highest paid attendance wrestling show ever apparently. So when I first saw that and the pay-per-view event started, it really did feel weird just because it it just felt like that for a show that is a non WWE show. It really did feel like a WrestleMania, but it wasn't a WWE show, so it felt a bit weird having that big of a crowd for for another promotion. But overall, it was a really good show, and just the general vibe of it, it felt big. It felt sold out. It just felt really, really big, and that because of Wembley Stadium. So it was just a really, really good show overall, as I thought personally. In terms of getting into the show, we will start off with the 0 hour pre-show, and that was the first match on the card, which was MJF and Adam Cole versus Aussie Open, Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher. Overall, I thought it was a good match. Overall, it was a good match, and both of the matches on the pre-show were fairly short. I thought they did the job really well, to be honest with you, and I do think that it was a really good chemistry between Aussie Open and MJF and Adam Cole. You had some really good tag team maneuvers in there, and just like I said, it was really short. You had MJF doing a bit of his heel tactics, and then Adam Cole coming out clearing house, and in the end you had MJF hit the coveted kangaroo kick, and then after that they hit the double clothesline to win the ROH Tag Team Championships. So MJF and Adam Cole defeated Aussie Open, so it was a good opening to the pre-show. And the second match on the pre-show, and it was the second and the last match on the pre-show, was Hook versus Jack Perry for the FTW Championship, and again, solid match. I think it went under 10 minutes, so it was for what it was a solid match. When Jack Perry was coming out in the car, Hook came out and attacked him. Jack Perry did a rolling thunder on top of the car like RVD. So overall, it was a good match. In the end, Hook regaining the FTW World Championship by choking out Jack Perry, and Jack Perry tapped out. And Jack Perry even alluded to the fact that it's real glass on the limousine, which obviously is harkening back to him and CM Punk, which apparently there was another altercation backstage with CM Punk and Jack Perry. Apparently they've been suspended, so we'll see, what happens with that. But right now I just want to focus on the show because it was, such a good show. I want to focus on that. So those were the two matches. Jack Perry tapping out to Hook. So I think we also had somewhere on the pre-show where I think Anthony Ogogo, Big Show, and Grado came out to confront Jeff Jarrett. So yeah, that was also a very good moment as well. So now we move on to the main show, and we have the opening match on the show, which was Samoa Joe versus CM Punk for the Real World Championship. And again, I thought it was a really good show. Good choice of opener over here. Punk was acting a bit heelish, doing some of John Cena's moves, some of Hulk Hogan's moves. Samoa Joe was just being Samoa Joe, so it was a really, really good, a cool moment again where Punk was doing a dive on the outside. Joe did his no-look spot. So it was a really, really good, and then Punk just fell on the floor. So overall, really good match. Really, really enjoyed it. A bit on the shorter side, but still at the end of the day, really good match. Both of them, and Punk winning by doing a Pepsi plunge off the top rope for onto Samoa Joe, and Punk defeating Samoa Joe. So good open to the show, I felt. And then we will move on to the second match on the card, which was the Golden Elite, which is Hangman Page, Kenny Omega, and Kota Ibushi. They were taking out Bullet Club Gold, Juice Robinson, Jay White, and Konosuke Takeshita. So again, very, very energetic, high-paced six-man tag. Really good. The crowd was really hot for the baby faces, Kota Ibushi, Hangman Page, and especially Kenny Omega. They were really, really loud for Kenny Omega, as we all expected. So overall, really good match. There was back and forth, and just at the end, things breaking down like they normally do in a six-man tag in AEW. But a surprising result there. where Konosuke Takeshita got the pinfall over Kenny Omega by holding his tights, but still he got the pinfall. So again, really good match and good way to give the heels, especially Takeshita, a victory over a really big crowd. So it looks like they're building towards Omega versus Takeshita at All Out next week. So it really, really should be good. That match is going to be. I'm really looking forward to that match. And now we move on to the third match on the card, which is the third match in the trilogy of the Young Bucks versus FTR. So we know their feud. They had a great match at Full Gear 2020, and then last year as well they had their second match on Dynamite. The Young Bucks won the first one, FTR won the second one, and now this is their rubber match, and really really good match again. I think it went about 21 minutes, and just a really solid, very very good match between. I would say the Young Bucks and FTR is probably the match of the night. I felt so really good match. You had their usual spots, both of them doing each other's moves. I think Young Bucks tried a Shatter Machine, and FTR tried the BTE Trigger. So that was really really good. They had a great callback where Cash Wheeler did a springboard 450, and Matt Jackson got out of the way. His leg was hurting in the Full Gear match, and his leg was also hurting in this match, and he did a super kick holding his leg, pinning Cash Wheeler, just like a callback to their Full Gear 2020 match. And this time Cash Wheeler kicked out though, and then they hit their, in the end, they hit their Shatter Machine, and FTR defeated the Young Bucks and won the trilogy 2-1. So overall, a really, really good match, I would say. An awesome match, and the Young Bucks in the end, FTR were looking to shake their hands, and the Young Bucks didn't shake their hand. They just left and went and left them high and dry. So we'll see, what happens with that. They might continue to have a rivalry down the road. So overall, again, really, really good match. So now, if I look at the fourth match on the card, it is definitely, I would say, a very chaotic match rather. It's you have Eddie Kingston, you have the Best Friends, you have Orange Cassidy and Penta El Zero Miedo versus Santana and Ortiz, and the Blackpool Combat Club with John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta. So overall, this was the just all over the place match, just like Stadium Stampede, Anarchy in the Arena type matches are. And it was a really, really hardcore match. You had, at one point, you had John Moxley, glass everywhere, hitting people with forks, and of course, because John Moxley was bleeding like 3 minutes in, I think, which, if that didn't happen, then it would not be a John Moxley match. So overall, there was one spot where you had skewers in the head of John Moxley, and you had Penta just slamming them in, and you just had John Moxley with 5-6 skewers in his head sticking out. So that was really gnarly moment there. You had Sue, Trent's mom, returning with her van, and at one point I think John Moxley kissed her, and then that prompted Trent Beretta to just come in and just attack, and let the Best Friends get the upper hand here. And then you had Trent's mom have cookies. They used their baking trays to hit Blackpool Combat Club over the head with, and in the end you had Penta El Zero Miedo hit I think it was a powerbomb onto two tables over a ladder, on top of a ladder with Santana, and you had Eddie Kingston returning in the end. Some really good storytelling moments with Eddie Kingston and Claudio Castagnoli, Eddie Kingston and John Moxley. So it was just all over the place really. You had Eddie and all of them fighting all over the crowd, Castagnoli and Eddie just going crazy, and then in the end you had Orange Cassidy, who got the pinfall over Claudio and defeating Blackpool Combat Club. So it was a really, really good match overall. And, it was a very good moment there too with, I think, who was it? Orange Cassidy put duct tape backwards on his hand. The sticky part is on the outside, and he smashed a glass bottle, and then you had all the glass sticking to his hand, and then that's how he won, by punching Claudio Castagnoli. So overall, really, really just a chaotic, bloody match. So it's keeping the night going, I guess. You have to have one of these matches as well. So the next match was Saraya versus Tony Storm versus Hikaru Shida versus Britt Baker in a fatal 4-way for the AEW Women's Championship. You had Tony Khan buying what was the song? Oh yeah, of course. How can I forget that song? We Will Rock You from Queen for Soraya's entrance. It was a really good moment. You had Soraya with her family, and yeah, overall, it was a solid match. I would say, a solid match. And you had the main story of this match was that the dissension between the outcasts. You had Tony Storm, you had Soraya's mum holding Britt Baker, and then when Tony Storm came to attack, Britt Baker got out of the way, and then Tony Storm hit Soraya's mum. So that resulted Soraya to turn on Tony Storm, basically just saying, "Why did you hit my mum?" And then basically Tony Storm was apologizing, and then basically they started fighting, and then there was a bit of moments with that because they were fighting Tony and Soraya. It led Britt Baker and Hikaru to get the upper hand a little bit, and then in the end, I think people were really hot for Hikaru Shida. I think they really liked Hikaru Shida, and Britt Baker at the one point had the lockjaw in on Hikaru Shida, and that's when Soraya came in, used the green spray paint on Tony Storm, hit. I think it used to be called a rampage. I think hit that maneuver, and Soraya pinned Tony Storm. So you had Ruby Soho come in as well before that, I think, and then Tony hit Ruby Soho and she just left. So it looks like they might have broken up now to the Outcasts. So yes, Soraya pinned Tony Storm. She got the win in her hometown of England. Lovely moment there for her, winning the AEW World Championship. And yeah, overall, I thought it was a solid match. In terms of the next match, you have Darby Allin and Sting versus Swerve Strickland and Christian Cage, the legend, the Hall of Famer Christian Cage. And so overall, it was a really, as you can tell, I'm a huge Christian Cage fan. But at the end of the day, really good match again. It might have gone a tad a bit long, but overall, it's still a really, really good match. I really enjoyed that match. You had Darby doing his crazy things, doing a coffin drop onto the coffin. Literally, it's a coffin drop. And you have Swerve Strickland and Christian Cage being dastardly bad guys, attacking Sting. And Sting did really well. He did a dive on the top onto the table onto Swerve. So Sting still doing his New Jack stuff overall. And then you had Sting and Darby Allin put sort of Strickland in the coffin. And then, yeah, Sting and Darby Allin won. And I think Tony Khan again bought Seek and Destroy from Metallica for the entrance of Sting and Darby Allin. I think it was that song. And so, yeah, looks like, Tony Khan, as we know, he has a lot of money and he's not afraid to use it. So overall, it was a really, really good match. I really enjoyed it. And then next we come to the dream match. In some people's eyes, some people might not agree, but overall, I did think it ended up being a really good match, despite the build, I guess, because Ospreay was in the G1. So you had Chris Jericho versus Will Ospreay. Jericho performed Judas on the microphone as he was coming down for his entrance. Ospreay came out to a raucous crowd of his home country of England. So overall, a really good match as well. I really enjoyed it. Yes, Jericho is a bit past his prime, but for what it was a really good match. Jericho can still go at this age. For his age right now, it was still a really good match. You had Jericho hitting a German suplex on top of Ospreay, and just overall, Jericho at one point hit an Oz cutter, and then I think he did hit his head on the ground. I think, thankfully, he was okay. And then just Ospreay doing his crazy maneuvers, Oz cutters, Stormbreakers, and overall in the end he hit a hidden blade. Jericho kicked out of the Stormbreaker, and then he hit another hidden blade, Stormbreaker, and then Ospreay defeated Jericho in a really good match. So Ospreay now in 2 months, or just over 2 months, has defeated Okada, Kenny Omega, and Jericho. That too at Wembley. So it's a really good 2 months for Will Ospreay. So his contract is expiring in 6 months' time with New Japan. So it remains to be seen, where he's gonna go. He said he's weighing up his options right now. But yeah, overall, really good match. Ospreay gets a victory in his home of England. And then in the end, I think at the end it was Jericho's really upset. Basically, Jericho was just not happy with Sammy Guevara. He was just telling Sammy to stay away from him. So we'll see what happens with the relationship between Sammy and Jericho. Maybe they fight it all out. We'll see what happens with that. And then we have the second to last match on the card. After that, we have Billy Gunn and the Acclaimed versus House of Black. And so overall, I thought it was before the match, by the way. Sorry, before I get there, it's a really good tribute to Bray Wyatt. The House of Black did. You had obviously the arena was black. And you had people holding up their cell phone lights and just flooded with fireflies like Bray Wyatt's entrance. Buddy Matthews had a lantern as well, so it was a really good tribute to Bray. So in terms of this match, it was a House of Black house rules, and the Acclaimed chose to have a no holds barred match. So overall, no tags, just a crazy. It was just a crazy brawl. So overall, just a really good match. And in the end, you had the Acclaimed pinning House of Black, and the Acclaimed defeated House of Black to win the AEW World Trios Championship. And then obviously they did their famous catchphrase, scissoring, and 80,000 people, over 80,000 people just celebrating with the Acclaimed. So overall, it was a nice moment. And I think at one point you also had Nigel, after I think it was after this match or before, you had Nigel McGuinness coming out in the crowd saying, "This is the highest paid wrestling event, 81,035." So it was really good night for AEW. And then finally we come to the main event, and which was MJF versus Adam Cole for the AEW World Championship. So I really enjoyed this main event. Really, just it was a good storytelling element as well in this. It wasn't just wrestling moves. It was a good storytelling element too. You had at the beginning, they both of them shaking hands, saying we're still friends, and then MJF started a little bit his heel tactics when he first hit Adam Cole a poke in the eye, and I think that's what got Adam Cole agitated a little bit. You had both of them wearing their "Better Than You, Baby" shirts, and then they just basically just started just having a normal wrestling match. And then as we got along more into it, Adam Cole was a bit more of a heel here in this match. I felt he at points slapping MJF and things like that. MJF and Adam Cole basically just going back and forth, and the tide fully turned when I think Adam Cole hit a brainbuster, sheer drop brainbuster onto the stairs of MJF. And then when he was waiting for the countdown victory, Adam Cole was in the ring, MJF was laid out on the ground. You could see that Adam Cole was just, the expression on his face, it was like he was concerned for MJF, like, what did I just do onto the stairs? I had a brainbuster. And then I think the referee counted to 9, and then MJF just barely made it to the ring. So after a bit more back and forth, you had onto the announce table, I think MJF was going for the tombstone piledriver onto Adam Cole, and as soon as he was about to hit it, he stopped and he just got out, and then basically hands on his head, just go, "No, I can't do that. He's my best friend. I can't do that." And that basically cost him, because as soon as he came back, Adam Cole was the one who took advantage of that weakness for MJF, and Adam Cole hit MJF with a tombstone piledriver on top of the announce table. So after that, basically that caused people to turn on Adam Cole a little bit. And then basically what happened there, the referee got taken out as well. You had Adam Cole nearly hitting MJF. Actually I think it was MJF about to hit Adam Cole with the dynamite diamond ring. And then as soon as he was about to hit Adam Cole, I think Roderick Strong came out. He basically hit a low blow on, I think he and then he took out the ring actually at MJF. He took out the ring because he's like, "No, I can't hit my friend." And then Roderick Strong came out, and then Roderick Strong basically low blowed him, and then told Adam to hit him with the title belt. And then Adam Cole was about to, he actually, when he hit him with the low blow, actually this was before the title belt, and then I'm getting my spots mixed up. And then Adam Cole, after Roderick Strong low blowed him, Adam Cole hit him with the boom, and then MJF, you had the referee Bryce Remsburg coming, he woke up, and then basically you had him covering MJF, and then MJF kicked out. So that's basically what happened. And then when there was also a spot where the referee was down, you had them both doing the Eddie Guerrero chair spot. They basically kept handing them the chair, and then Adam Cole just fell down by himself, pretending to be hurt, and then MJF put the chair on top of his head, and then he also laid down. So that was a really good funny moment there. And then after, they both did a double clothesline, and after that I think at that point Roderick Strong went away, because he was like, why didn't Adam, I think at one point Roderick Strong at one point told Adam to hit him with the belt, and Adam Cole didn't. So Roderick Strong left, and then it was then both of them did a double clothesline to both of them, to each other, and they both fell down. Both of their arms were on each other, and the referee counted 3. So that was a draw, and the crowd was booing, and then basically, they were not happy with the draw. And then that led to Adam Cole. Just like in their first match, Adam Cole said, "Jeff, we need 5 more minutes." And then MJF was like, "No." and then everyone was booing, and then MJF was like, we need more than 5 minutes. We need to go as long as we need until we get a winner. So, and then they continued. They continued to have I think a bit more of a match after that, 5 to 10 minutes or so. Just Cole hitting a Panama Sunrise on the outside. Just a really, really good back and forth, which led to Roderick Strong coming out again, telling Adam to hit him with the title belt, and he didn't hit him with the title belt, and that's what led, because Adam Cole didn't hit MJF, that led MJF to inside cradle him, and that got the pinfall victory. So MJF defeated Adam Cole because Adam Cole couldn't bring himself to hit him with the title belt. So MJF retains his title. Overall, really good match. And yeah, you had Cole distraught in the end. MJF was like, we've still got the ROH tag team titles. We're still friends. And then Adam Cole took the ROH tag team title and threw it away. So, and then that's when MJF was like, okay, so you just care about the title. You don't care about my friendship. So he said, fine, take the title then. Take the title. You've never cared about me. That's what MJF said. And then MJF was like, he turned his back on Adam Cole. He said, fine, get it over with. And then basically MJF was like this, turned his back on Adam Cole, and he said, hit me then, get it over with. And then you had Adam Cole holding the title belt, about to hit him, and then he dropped the title belt, and then they both hugged, and they both are still friends. And that's basically how the crowd, and then the huge pop for the crowd in the end of the show. At the end of the show, you had both of them hug and celebrate, both of them raising their hands up high, both of them, Adam Cole and MJF, and both of them just shared a moment in the ring together with the fans. You had confetti everywhere, so you had Adam Cole and MJF celebrating together with the confetti and 81,000 people just screaming. So that's basically how the show went off the air. So it was overall, I just felt just a nice, great moment ending the show. Happy moment. You had Roderick Strong and the Kingdom just on the outside being all distraught, but it was but in the ring with the fans, it was a really fun, feel-good moment to end the show. And just before the show went off the air, it also said a graphic, and the commentary said that AEW All In will be returning to Wembley Stadium next year, Sunday, August 25th in 2024. So they'll be returning for All in Wembley Stadium next year. So that should be a really good show. Hopefully, it's just as good as this one, or if not better. So for AEW's first, I would say, international show out of North America in front of 81,000 people, it was a really good show. They hit it out of the park, AEW. So yeah, sometimes the build might not be as good. They do need to work on the build as well. I feel in some of the other shows, hopefully they focus on the build as well a bit more. But the actual show, more often than not, ends up delivering, I feel. So really, really good show. Tony Khan, every single person that, the talent and everyone that put together the show, they should be proud of themselves. It was a really enjoyable, night of wrestling. So yep, that would do it, ladies and gentlemen, for this video. And yeah, hopefully, if you want more discussions, news and videos and reviews, hopefully you stick to the channel for more. Thank you for watching.